Yo, what's going on guys, it is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video, and this is episode number 6 of Zero to Hero, and we are here for the Monaco Grand Prix, one of the best ones on the calendar, and one of the most tasty ones because we're starting from the back of the grid as per usual. Now as you can see, we are sitting here on the grid. We're going to be starting on the option tyre for this race, and we're going to try and do some damage here at Monaco and hope for a pretty decent result, because Monaco is always going to be a tricky one, especially because you want to try and cut through the AI around here. There's a lot of cars to get past in order to get to a good position. Now quickly looking at the setup, as you guys can see on screen right now, we just quickly applying the modifications from last race, and overall not too bad. The setup is slowly coming along nicely. Obviously last time out we unlocked our first ever rear end upgrades on the car, so those are coming in very handy for this race, but hopefully they're coming even more handy for the next race in Canada and Austria. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to those races. But we are hitting Monaco, and if you guys are excited, then please leave a like on the video straight off the bat, and let's see if we can try and hit 80 likes. That'd be absolutely fantastic for this episode. But we're going to jump into the race, and this is where it's crucial because we really need to finish at least in the top 4 and not get any downgrades, because our setup is really starting to come along nicely now. So we're going to move into the race, and fingers crossed we can get the result that we really want here. So here we go, we're going to gear up to the 5 red lights for the Monaco Grand Prix, and we are underway, getting a pretty decent start off the line here, and actually not getting much wheel spin as we now make our way into the first corner for the first time this race. And we're going to try and keep our nose out of any sort of altercations, which is obviously going to keep our front wing in one piece. So we need to take it nice and slow here as we try to overtake Harrianto, but Harrianto in that manner is known for a straight line speed, and he's got ridiculous traction and just speed up the hill, and I have to let him go for now, especially because my setup is still pretty much default with only a couple of tweaks. So crucially the aero part of the car is still 6.6, so none of the aero has been modified, so most of the car is still default. But here we go, a double dive bomb up the inside of Mirabeau, up the inside of Harrianto and Nazar, and we're actually going to get squeezed into a low hairpin here, get boxed in between Verline and Nazar, and we literally can't do anything. We're just basically a passenger, and Harrianto is actually trying to come back at us here, and we're going to try and dive it back up the inside, but he actually makes the move on us around the outside. So fantastic overtake there from Miro Harrianto, the Indonesian driver, and we actually have to settle for P20 again. So moving later on into lap 2, we're still in last place, but eventually now we can try and hopefully pick up some overtakes now that the field has spread out a little bit, and this is where we're going to start making some moves. So here we go, we're going to cut back underneath Harrianto here on the exit of Casino Square, and actually go for the move up the inside of Mirabeau here. But Harrianto once again is having absolutely none of it, and he actually gives me a bit of a love kiss there on the exit, and he overtakes me into lows, but I'm going to try and stick it around the outside, which will then become the inside for the next corner. And Harrianto still literally is not giving an inch, he's still there fighting me, but eventually into Portier he has to give way, and he hits the wall there on the exit, and I finally make the move there. But Harrianto fooled me way more than what I expected there in the manner, so fair play to him there. But moving later on onto lap 3, and we're now in the back of his teammate Pascal Verline, who in real life actually just scored at the first points of the season for Monaco in Austria. But we are here in Monaco, and he's in 18th place, and we need to overtake him here for position. So we're going to go clean around the outside of Mazzone on the German driver, and that is a nice easy move in comparison to his teammate, which really put up a decent fight. So that's both of the two manners overtaken there. So fantastic stuff so far as we move on to lap 4, and we're now on the back of Felipe Nazar, and once again we had a little look around the outside there, but there was no room through. However, we are going to look switch back there on Nazar, get a beautiful exit and nice traction out of Casino, and make the move up the inside of Mirabeau, and the move is done and dusted. So a fantastic overtake there on Felipe Nazar, textbook stuff. And we move on to lap 5, and as you can see we're back on the back of both Force Indians, who've had a pretty poor race so far, and don't seem to really have to pace around here. And we're on the back of Hulkenberg, who's the first one to be overtaken by us, and we're going to try and stick our nose up the inside. A little bit of contact there with Hulkenberg, but we do make the move there. Fantastic stuff, and Hulkenberg just about giving me the room, and we're going to get 2 for 1 here as we get a beautiful exit out of Casino. We're going to dive up the inside of Sergio Perez, who's on the prime tyre, but Perez once again, similar to Harrianto, is having none of it, and he's going to try and hold it up the inside of the Lowe's hairpin there, but I'm still on his outside, literally a carbon copy of the Harrianto overtake. But eventually, similar to Harrianto, we do get the move into Portier, done and dusted, and Perez has to give way. We get the position there, so fantastic battling once again from Sergio Perez, similar to Rio Harrianto. And later on we caught up to the back of Jenson Button at the end of lap 7 onto the start of lap 8, and DRS is now enabled. As you can see, we're going to pull off a lovely easy move around the outside of JB here. We're going to have to go side by side into the first corner actually. JB is nuts and late on the brakes, but we are going to make the move around the outside there, and that's a fantastic overtake on Jenson Button as my phone goes off, so I do apologise for that. But moving later on onto lap 9, and we're now on the back of Carlos Sainz here, and he's also having a bit of a poor race so far, but we're going to try and pick him off here and make another overtake into Massey. We're going to try and go around the outside of the Spaniard here, and look at the grip we've got on these option tyres here. Fantastic stuff. Sainz tries to fight it, but I've got the better line for the next corner, and we do make the overtake there for P13. And we're now going to try and line up his teammate Danny Kvyat for a move here as we now come out of the final corner, picking up some DRS here, and that's going to be a question of trying to wait for the opportunity to strike here, just like a Cobra, like I said in the last race. You just got to wait for the opportunity. I'm going to go for the dive here, a nice late diving move on the brakes, fantastic overtake there, and that's what I was talking about, just literally wait for it, wait to the last second when he least expects it, just strike and make the overtake there. So fantastic move on Danny Kvyat, and we actually catch up massively to Julian Palmer here, and I think it's Alonso's holding him up, and we're going to pull off a lovely little move here as we get better traction at the exit of Casino and make the move on the British driver there on Julian Palmer. So fantastic move, and we're now got Fernando Alonso up next, and he is the first man in the point scoring position, so we overtake Alonso and we'll be on course for a couple of points this race, and that'd be fantastic. So far as we go around the outside of Fernando Alonso here, and the rain has just started to fall, I think, on screen. I'm just seeing some droplets of rain, and we get a massive tank slammer because of the slippery track there. So the rain is starting to fall in Monaco, and we go side by side with Alonso into Mirabeau here, now into the Lowe's hairpin. Alonso gives me a little bit of a tap into Lowe's side by side action. Fantastic stuff so far, and we're going to try and get up the inside, but Alonso holds it around the outside and he holds on to that position for now. But like I said, the rain is actually starting to come down now, so that is even more important, so we've got to keep an eye out for that and get the switch to intermediates absolutely perfect as we go around the outside of Fernando Alonso. Similar to Joseph Button, we're going to go around the outside of the first corner here and pull off the move. Fantastic overtake, and that is us up into P10 and into the points, and moving later on the end of that very same lap. The rain was getting a little bit too heavy for my liking, so I've decided to roll the dice and pit in for intermediate tyres, especially because there was a massive train of cars ahead of me, and it had quite a few cars in it, so I was hoping that if I could pit for these inters, they'd all trip each other up and I could maybe get some sort of undercut and get a couple of positions. So as you can see, we're now on the intermediate tyres, and the rain is starting to come down quite a bit now, so we've got to keep an eye out for the rain, and especially if it gets any heavier, then we've got to keep an eye out for the wet conditions. So here we go then, we rejoin the track just behind, I believe, both of the Manners there, so very unfortunate, and we're going to just rejoin just behind Harrianto. As you can see, the AI is staying up for one more lap on their dry tyres, so I'm the only person on track right now on intermediates, but Harrianto just jumps me there. But we're actually going to go around the outside here. Can we make it stick? No, we can't. Maybe we can try and get in here though, as we get a brutal switchback out of Casino once again and up the inside of Mirabeau, which seems to be pretty much a textbook move from me this race, one that I really overall really enjoy making. So fantastic overtake there on Harrianto, and we're now in the back of Verline once again here, and we're all over the back through the new ultra came. We're going to try and pull up the inside and go up the inside to back, and can we make it stick? Yes, we do. Easy move on Pascal Verline there, and now you can see that just looking at both of those Manners alone, you can see that they were struggling on the dry tyres. And look at this, we're going to rejoin in P9 and then P8 as we overtake Marcus Ericsson. So we've gained 2 positions in there, and I believe the cars we overtook were Daniel Ricciardo and Marcus Ericsson. So 2 positions we've gained there from the little undercut onto the intermediate tyres, pitting 1 lap earlier. So fantastic strategy from me there, and we're now trying to attack Max Verstappen here as we go up the inside of the young Dutchman, up the inside of Mirabeau, but Max Verstappen having none of it once again, giving us a little bit of a love kiss on the exit, and side by side through Lewis once again seems to be a carbon copy of the move we pulled off on Harrianto and Perez here, as Verstappen is still fighting me, but once again into Portier, he has to let go, and I'll make the move there, running out extra wide to make sure he doesn't even bother sticking his nose in there. And moving on to the end of that lap, the rain really started to pick up, and I've decided to roll the dice again and go onto the wet tyres. So this is where hopefully we can get a couple more positions and maybe a bit of time on the top 6, which consists of my teammate, both of the Williams and both of the Mercedes. So we need to really make some time up here, and this is why I'm going onto the wet tyres 1 lap early to try and replicate what we did on the last stint. And like I said, the hope is eventually, if this strategy works, then fingers crossed we should be a little bit closer to the top 5, and that would be absolutely fantastic in terms of getting a good result this race, because now this rain has fallen, it really does open up the field, and it actually gives me a chance of getting a decent race result here. And moving later on to lap 22, we're on the back of Felipe Massa, because now everybody has pit for full wet tyres, and our pace was absolutely ridiculous on these tyres. We're so much faster than anybody else because of the full setup, and we're all over the back of Felipe Massa here, trying to pick him off front move here, but there is no room through the final couple of corners, so we've got to hold back for the time being. And moving 1 lap later in the exact same place as last time, we get the exact same runners on Massa this time, but we're going to go for a bit of a different strategy this time. We're going to go really wide at Raskas and swing back on Felipe Massa here. Fantastic overtake, pick up the traction and go up the inside of the final corner there and make the move on Felipe Massa, one move that I was particularly proud of at the time when I was recording this. Fantastic overtake there, just textbook switchback in these full wet conditions there on Massa. And moving later on, as you can see, we're on the back of Lewis Hamilton, and I can tell you, Kevin Magnussen in the Renault is in 2nd place, hence why this train is a thing. And we're going to try and go up the inside of Hamilton, up the inside of the Nouvelle chicane there, right last second dive bomb, but we do make it stick on Lewis Hamilton there. But like I was saying, Kevin Magnussen, as you can see there in the Renault, is in 2nd place. fantastic from him. I believe he qualified there, and he's actually in second place right now, still in these conditions. There's only 6 laps to go, so that'll be absolutely fantastic for Renault if they could bag a podium in this race. And as you can see, we cut the barrier up the inside of Vettel there. We try to make a move, and we just cut the inside of the barrier of Mirabeau, but we make the move on our teammate, and we're now on the back of Valtteri Bottas, and we get a brilliant exit on the exit of Nouvelle here. We're going to try and dive one up the inside off to back, similar to what we do with Pascal Wehrlein, and then we make the move there on Valtteri Bottas. So fantastic overtake on him, and then later on that lap we're going to come in for a pit stop here, and everybody's pitting because the conditions were actually improving, and it was time for intermediates. I did consider going to the end of these wet tyres, but at the end of the day I was never going to get anything better than a second place, which is what Magnussen currently holds. And I believe we're going to jump him. Yes, we do. We jumped Kevin Magnussen there in the pit stop, so fantastic stuff there, and we managed to pull off the move on the Danish driver, and we're now in that second place. That's absolutely fantastic for us, and we're pretty much now going to catch Rosberg. You can see he's 22 seconds up the road with only 5 laps to go, so second lap P2 is going to be a finishing position here, and then moving later on onto the lap 39. As you can see, Rosberg is right there. We caught up to him in these conditions, but it's not going to be enough. One more lap and we could have had him possibly, so we're going to come across for P2 for the Monaco Grand Prix. Fantastic result, 18 points, and what a way to finish the race. And the wet conditions really just helping me out, because in these wet conditions obviously it really just opened the door for strategy and just what you can do, and it just really worked out for a T for me, and it really did pay off there. The strategy gamble helped, and it really brought me right back into contention this race, and overall my pace was just absolutely incredible with the default setup. So overall a great race, some good points, and once again we're still winless this season, which is quite surprising. We've had quite a fair few second places, but that does mean 2 upgrades on the wheel, so we're going to move into that in a second. But first of all, looking at the final race results, and Hamilton just pipped Kevin Magnussen for the 3rd spot on the podium, unfortunately, with Felipe Massa in 5th and Bottas in 6th there, and Sebastian Vettel nowhere to be seen, so he must have had some sort of altercation there and must have even DNF, so very unfortunate for my teammate. So that's a big 0 for Ferrari, and Marcus Ericsson and Alonso, they're getting their first points of the season, particularly Alonso, I believe his first points of the season, and Daniel Ricciardo way down in P10 there, so horrible race for Red Bull, one that they want to forget. But Ericsson, they're getting a few points for Sauber once again, but a very interesting top 10. Kevin Magnussen, they've been the star performer in P4, and like I said, just very unfortunate that Sebastian Vettel actually DNF'd, I believe, or must have had some sort of contact, because he was in like 4th place with like 5 laps to go. But looking at Drivers' Championship, as you can see, the top 4 are covered by 35 points, and I'm still in 2nd place with Lewis Hamilton right up my chuff, and Vettel has dropped down to 4th place there, so unfortunate for him. He must have surely picked up a 0 that race, so not what he wanted. But overall, that top 4 is still looking very tasty, and it's pretty much looking like the battle that is going to brew throughout the entire season. And looking at the Constructors' Championship, finally, Ferrari have dropped some points to Mercedes. Unfortunately, we are 24 points behind them now, so Mercedes really did gain some ground on us there, especially because of the Vettel DNF, which didn't help. So overall, disappointing race in many ways, but at the end of the day, who can be upset with 2nd place at Monaco? Let's be realistic here. 2nd place at Monaco is an absolutely fantastic result, and the 18 points really did come in handy there, so I'm not too disappointed for myself, obviously for the team I am, but not for myself. But overall, that was the Drivers and Constructors, and looking at the upgrades and downgrades permutations, as you can see, 2nd place means 2 spins of the wheel, so we're going to move into that right now, and fingers crossed we can get a couple of decent upgrades, particularly aero related ones, because those are the ones that are going to really help us out. So here we go, first spin of the wheel, and we're going to get, oh my god, no, oh wow, we've got a setup reset already. It's been like 5 races, 6 races this season, we've had a setup reset. We're going to spin for the 2nd time, and we get the ballast, but oh my days, we got a setup reset, so that is a game changer. So for the next race in Canada, we're going to be able to, basically, we're going to have to reset the setup to default and only modify the ballast. So that is a game changer and a half for Monaco. After that incredible drive, we get rewarded with a default setup reset. So that is horrible and heartbreaking for us, but that is the way this series goes. This is what I like about the series. It's so just random and special in many ways. But hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have, then please do smash that like button. Like I said, let's try and hit 80 likes, maybe even 90 if you're still watching to this point. That would be fantastic. But if you're new on here, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Twitter at Tom7HD. And also, that's about it for this video, guys. So hopefully you have enjoyed, like I said, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one very soon. Goodbye.